Dear listener, ClockTower is intended for mature audiences and might be inappropriate or possibly triggering to some. Many of the themes and events in ClockTower are inspired by weird fiction as well as similar concepts, which means the show can get dark. If that isn't something you enjoy, please listen at your own discretion. We here at the ClockTower care about you, so please put your mental health first. Our show will be here when you're ready.
Welcome to Season 2 of ClockTower, a D&D 5e experience. To all our old and new listeners, we're excited to have you here with us. ClockTower is a D&D campaign turned audio drama, played with a custom class and a few house rules that we as a group collectively enjoy. If you find yourself getting a little lost, there's always older episodes to guide you back to the path. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and welcome to the ClockTower.
Jaeger, you focus on every word in the book that you can't understand. The rest of them start to flow by pretty naturally. You start to memorize what certain words look like, and it becomes easier to read more the more you go. Unfortunately, with how this book is set up, every 4 words, there's a word you don't understand, and a word you've never seen before, and you start sounding it out. It's been a bit of time. Sam and Barrett have a pretty good plan on what both of the lights are, how one seems kind of almost adverse to the other one, although without being able to test it, it's really hard to know for sure. And then, as everyone is sitting stilly around the couch, Trinket shoots up from her place of pleasantly sleeping on the couch and slams her hands on the table, which makes everybody jump because the perfect stillness was not there, and she just gasps air as she looks directly at the lantern that's on the table.
Did you die? What, are you okay?
I look around the room a little bit frantic, and I let out a sigh. I think I just had a nightmare.
On the couch? Do we do that? Do we do that? I never slept on the couch.
Roll a history check, you specifically, Barrett.
So 12 plus 2, 14.
As soon as Trinket is like, I had a nightmare, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Grin kept doing this. Grin refused to sleep in the tower after he did it a couple of times and kept having visions of shit that you guys would then see later, and it made him deeply uncomfortable. And you guys had talked about it a little bit of maybe because you're sleeping so close to the hourglass and to all of these worlds that things from worlds that you haven't been to yet, or things that are currently happening, or things that have happened, all sort of jumble into one and slip in while you're sleeping, which is why Grin didn't like to do it, and you usually just read.
Are those outcomes of the dreams usual certainties?
Hard to say. Grin only did it 3 times, and the 3 times that he did do it, it did eventually happen, so much so that you thought, you guys were thought for a while that it wasn't a certainty, because he had one dream that it didn't come true, and then, missions on missions on missions later, you guys went to that world, and Grin was like, this is the world that I dreamed about. This is that one that I told you about. But it was, so far in the future that, shit he was worried about, he wasn't as worried when he got there, because it wasn't that you, he'd be worried about, you, and you were talking to me about some things I didn't understand. It was it's not that you were talking to him about things he didn't understand. You were talking to him about things he couldn't understand yet, because he didn't have the context. He didn't have the context. And that was one of the things that worried him, was that you were talking to him and that he didn't understand you, and he hated that.
Can I, if it's not too much, if I'm not prying, what did you see?
It's a little strange. There was snow, a blue light. I could hear the sounds of sirens, or maybe some type of war calling in the distance. and there was a really big person with a scythe and a wide-brimmed hat. Oh.
Sam writes this down under blue light.
So have you heard of this?
Yeah, I've seen it. I don't know whether to tell you guys this or not, but I'm just going to go out and say it. Grin's definitely taken naps on that thing before and had what he'd like to call like premonitions or even just peeks behind the curtain. That's what happens when you sleep behind the curtain. So he had a handful of dreams that over a very, very long span of time, or even sometimes no time at all, would eventually happen, or has happened, or is happening. So that's happened before for me. I've been there. That's the Harvest Wars that you saw. A lot of agents just gone because of that. I really hope that was a glimpse in the past, because that was settled a long time ago for me at least, and for some it's never been settled. Like Teddy.
Right.
Hopefully, this clock tower here is just giving you a little context you probably didn't need.
I sure hope so, because, yeah.
Oh, wait. Sorry, and Jaeger's gonna close the book on his lap. So, the Harvest Wars. This is the same place where Teddy got that thing he threw in the air.
Yeah, exactly. Those were flying everywhere. Really hard to dodge, almost undodgeable. It was good what you did back there. We would have all been gone.
Okay. I do have a question. I saw the radius of the thing after I shot it. I don't want to ask you about something that will bring up bad memories.
I've made my peace with it. You go ahead and ask what you want to know.
All right. Those things in the Harvest Wars were all on one world, correct? It was all one place. Was it a series of places you had to go to? It's just, for us, when we dealt with Olm, we had to deal with a series of worlds all dealing with the same issue.
Yep. One giant snowy battlefield. There were funneling in hundreds of clock tower agents at a time, because we were losing hundreds at a time. And the clock tower was doing whatever it possibly could to just throw us at the problem until it got done. Sadly, we were feeding the problem at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. This is actually probably a good time to show us what you found, Sam.
Yeah. Sam kind of ushers everyone together in a little huddle, flips open the first kind of page of the notebook, and has a brief description on both kinds of light in a very sanitized sense of like, we think this blue light comes from fallen agents, and however, the fallen agents are the fuel for this thing. We don't know what the actual cause of it yet. There's some descriptions. And this Olm-like fire is still unknown, but it looks like it can also come from dead or dying agents, or be used as a catalyst for them.
Now, it's a little dangerous, extremely dangerous, but we're hoping that this could help us prevent what we just went through not too long ago. And maybe even prevent another Harvest Wars from ever happening again. But it would be dabbling in some uncharted territories and some very, very, very dangerous ones at that.
We would have to make sure that no one ever finds this book.
Just like how you'd have to make sure no one ever finds that little lantern.
Oh, that's fair.
So, I figured out of all the clock tower agents available, we're probably the best ones to get our hands on this. This could have been really, really bad.
Well, now we know, right? And we know what to look out for. We can identify what it is rather than being caught up by it. It's important that we can all recognize these things, and if we do see sources or what things that might lead up to those sources, we can prevent it.
What are your thoughts, Trinket?
I'm not really sure what to make of all this just yet. So the blue lights are different than the light on the table.
But very similar in fashion.
Like, they both use us as catalysts or fuel.
But have different requirements or needs or even what they do with that fuel.
I mean, Ulm was when we became part of Ulm in particular, well, for you, it was a feeling of togetherness. It was...
The first time, yeah.
For me, it was searing. It was as if I stepped into the heart of a dying star.
You guys both know that both of those feelings are completely different than how the blue light made you feel.
Mm-hmm.
That like pale blue, white, gray light.
Emptiness.
It made you feel cut off from everything.
I couldn't have any sort of way to figure it out, but would one negate the other is the question I have. And we can never know until we run into the situation, which I'd like to avoid.
It just needs testing. But the problem about testing this is that we can't make mistakes.
And where would we test it? If we tested it here, we could risk breaking it like you guys have done in the past before. No offense.
No,
and then if we test it anywhere else out there, we'd be risking that world to another harvest war or something, or another lighthouse.
Actually, there might be a chance out there. If we get a mission where we have to crush that world, we find a world that is so dead that it's going to be removed anyways.
Something like the Grey City.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Then we could test it. But we don't know until we roll that dice.
Yeah.
So, maybe, if we do get the chance to go to that Orb Crush mission, we go through the mission, find the orb, know where it is, and then reset, grab the experiment tools, and go in again.
As a side note, should we just start taking the lantern with us more often? In case we do run into the blue light, we can't really plan that, and then by that point we have to try to survive. So
if one of y'all want to, that's okay. I'm fine with that. It's just know that you're carrying a responsibility.
I feel like there's a moment where all of you take a pause and look at the lantern and see that light glowing inside of it. And for Jaeger and Sam, that light, you don't really want to be anywhere near it. You guys have seen what it's done to worlds. You've seen what it's done to you. And there's a lot buried in that light. And for Barrett and Trinket, it's not the light that gives you guys pause. It's the silver and gold metal that is all mixed together and like rough forged that makes up the cage of the lantern that you guys get a real uneasy feeling about.
I don't want to, but I will hold on to it. Take it so no one else has to, if we do want to.
But that also puts a responsibility on us to watch you.
I'm all about running away.
Yeah.
Throwing up illusions. That's my whole thing. I'm not designed to track people down or hit them from 100 miles away or be able to reflect the eldritch energies off myself. But I am good at distracting people and keeping them from not seeing things and from getting away quick.
That includes us.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ever become a problem, you know us just as well as you know yourself at this point, and you could probably dodge us for a millennia, doing whatever the fuck you want to do without even knowing what you're doing. Who knows what I saw in the Harvest Wars, if they knew what they were doing or what they were just doing. That could have been a ClockTower agent gone wrong, and they not even know it, just because they stumbled onto something they shouldn't have.
I feel like we're hitting a dangerous precedent. If we start worrying about each other, then how are we going to deal with everything else?
Exactly.
So we'll hold off.
Yeah. I think holding off is okay.
Or we just take it really slow. If we feel any kind of resistance, if there's any kind of variable that comes up that I don't know, that we can't explain or respond to properly, we give it a break. And make sure we're still us.
Yeah.
All right.
Agreed.
Well, I feel awkward now just sitting around the table looking to can we start a mission?
We should probably go, yeah. It's been long.
If y'all want to, I'm fine. I can handle myself. But.
Are you sure? I mean, that book looks like a good read, buddy.
I will grab the lantern myself right now. and it's all for me.
Well, maybe don't, please.
Let's go.
Are you, does Trinket get up? Do you say anything? Because the audience can't see, but Kball's making a face like, I don't know if I'm okay with this.
I'm gonna kind of just get up and go to the mirror. Like, this is all a little tense. And
are you gonna do you like in the way of like trying to start a mission or getting ready to? 'Cause
I'm like ready to I'm showing them that I'm ready to go without saying I'm ready to go.
So Trinket gets up and stands by the mirror. Jaeger, can you roll a history check for me?
Not 20.
Damn.
Roll advantage.
Okay, sure, why not? Let's see. 16. Oh, yeah.
You,
Either not 20 or 22, either way.
You look at that lantern, and you remember with the discussion at hand, right? Especially people talking about it, the last time you used it. You'd picked it up and taken it to reveal that strange and unusual blackness beyond the door. With the light shining into it, just became like a attic closet. It was like small, and there was that hatch that led who knows where. And there's just this like part of you that as you look at that light, you see it like a burning star over a desert of black and white sand, and you see that tree just growing up out of nothing with all those leaves around its base. And you see like two images at once of Lily with your jacket and your hat on, and that same image of just the bones growing into the tree. You just don't know how time affects any of that. And you can never be sure if you're running out. And it had been so long since you thought about it, but it just sort of cascaded in your mind with the lantern and using it and the thoughts of picking it up again.
And you can sort of stare at the lantern, look up at the dresser, and anyone who like has met Jaeger and seen him in a fight will recognize like the look when his like eyelids sort of droop and he's like focused on a target. And for a split second, it's the exact look that he has on his face when he's like looking at the dresser. And then he's gonna blink and then shake his head, almost give himself a second to just sort of like shake himself back into place, and then walk over to go hit the clock face.
It's also one of those things of while Jaeger is kind of shaking it off, you, Trent, reached up to like touch your hat, and I think as you touch that hat, you like, Jaeger smiles a little bit, and you go and you start the mission like you know that they would.
Yeah.
And then the mirror ripples away, and you're looking into somewhere you can't quite make out all of the details because all the lights are off. But there's like enough light to make out that there's like shadows around, and it's kind of what you're looking at. It's hard to make out anything. Trinket, you're waiting by the mirror. So do you wait for them or do you go through first?
I wait for them.
Okay.
I'll make my way up to the mirror and kind of look at him. Is there any chance we have any normal lanterns around here?
Just the magical kinds.
I think I had a flashlight somewhere.
Look at the bookshelves.
That's...
You think I'll be able to take this notebook with me?
Barrett, yeah, you can. You have to like decide to take it with you.
Mm-hmm.
Grin sometimes had a thing that he did where if he really wanted to take something with him, he would like pick it up, put it on the coffee table in front of the mirror, pick it up, put it on the coffee table in front of the mirror, pick it up, put it on the coffee table in front
like
of the
quick
mirror,
save 5
and then-
times.
and then he would take it and put it in his jacket just to like really hammer home, and you always thought it was unnecessary.
If you want to be really sure, you can place it on a coffee table and pick it back up again.
Sam like stops, like thinks about it. How much science? Yeah, it's like a note for the mission. Ah, sure, why not? And like walks over and like drops it on the coffee table and picks it up. And he goes a step away, turns back,
You're like,
thinks about it,
part of you is like, did that do anything? Did I do
drops it again and puts it back up, turns away, stops, almost does it again, and goes, nah, I'm just being ridiculous. And everyone goes walks to the mirror.
Just don't put that down anywhere.
Every time Grin did it, Barrett being like, you think it worked?
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
I don't know, maybe another time. I mean, looked like it worked to me, I think. All right, I'm just gonna make the leap.
All right.
Go for it.
You step through?
Yep.
All right. Trick, are you following like as
Yes.
soon as Barrett's in, you're in?
Yes.
All right. Sam and Jaeger, you guys are the only ones in the clock tower for the second.
Shenanigans.
So we grab the lantern.
Oh my god, both of you just gave a look. Do Sam and Jaeger both share that same look and then look at the lantern?
Yes.
Like you guys both just did that?
So
Okay, look. I'm not saying,
no, of course not.
but
Yeah. But it would just be,
so quick.
uh-huh.
And
It's not like we're taking it with us.
we're not. I'm worried about Lily, and my brain is kind of
Oh,
playing tricks on me.
okay. Yeah.
And I realize if I don't say anything, I'm going to keep thinking about it.
Well, yeah, of course.
So if I should tell someone, and who else would I trust more than you?
Thanks, Edgar. Yeah, to be honest, I've been thinking about that too, or I never really stopped thinking about it. Collecting all this stuff, it kind of makes you want to use it.
And it sounds bad if you just say it like that, but it's for a reason.
Yeah, of course. And it's not like we're... Listen, the more we talk about this, the more we're going to convince ourselves that we're the assholes. Sam walks over to the coffee table.
And you're just gonna walk over and push the bookcase out of the way.
Okay. Yeah. I did not actually expect this to be how any of this rolled out. Continue. Roll a strength check, actually. You do have to roll a strength check to move the bookcase. Reagan was the only one able to do it previously.
Strength check of 12.
You try, and it screeches a little bit, like as you manage to move it a couple inches.
God,
It's so fucking heavy. And Barrett made it look like it was nothing. He just like pushed it back.
See, I know I'm fairly sure that's how it works, but it really does suck that apparently only 8 path to north and like occasionally south can move anything in this fucking tower.
What the fuck is with us? What, are we just not good at that? Is it just not a thing?
Well, it's obviously not. Look at me.
We're just good at talking to people. We just talk a lot. It's fine.
Sure.
Do you guys want to try and do the dresser together?
Yes.
Say we're gonna help. Try and move it. All right, you can roll with advantage, and you get a +2.
Okay. Nope. Ooh. No, that's gonna be a 9.
It's less than. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
So we're just-
You guys both try, and you guys like both for a minute miss Reagan really bad, because like Reagan fucking got it. Reagan was like, and just like muscled through it, and you guys are like, are we weak? Like,
I just,
Okay.
this really just took all the wind out of my sails.
Yeah. It's gonna happen,
Of course.
but not today.
Apparently not. You know what? I am going to touch that lantern, though. I'm doing something today.
It feels shitty. I'm admitting it right now.
Well, most things feel shitty in this.
Okay. I'm making sure.
Sam walks over and, like, reaches for it and stops, hearing that, like, when it's, like, it, like, does that wince grab, like, you're going to grab on something that's going to shock you.
roll a wisdom save.
Oh, 11.
You grab it, and immediately you feel this intense, like, feeling of prolonged sorrow, agony, and, like, feelings of despair frozen in time, distilled, and kept there. And not from, like, one person, but from a lot of people. and you feel it all at once like they were your own feelings. And you realize that it's not the light, it's the lantern. And the light inside is like amplifying that and being trapped within it at the same time. It's like an echo chamber that's keeping the light from being able to get any bigger and from being able to break out or crush the lantern. You think that if the lantern didn't have a real piece of Ulm in it, it would just collapse in on itself. And you think back to when you had that version of the lantern after the one time you reset from taking it from Castell, and it didn't have the fragment of Ulm in it, and it did just collapse in on itself. And it just feels incredibly shitty to hold. And it feels like, in a weird way, it's like if you could condense emotion into one part of your body, and you're feeling it rebounding to the rest of your body, like in waves from the lantern.
Sam, while holding onto this lantern with one arm, and like tucks it up into their armpit, and flicks open the book, flips to the back of the journal, and starts writing this down.
As soon as you start writing, you almost like stream of consciousness write the names Sill, Pockets, Whisper.
Sam pauses.
And you're like, I don't know what the fuck just happened.
Weird, and like blinking tears out of their eyes, they write that only despair can keep last hope trapped, and writing down like only like the condensed despair of these souls.
As you write, about every like 5 or so words, it varies, right? It's not consistent. You end up writing like a different word on accident, like please, and you're like, you just like space out for a second. You write something else, and you're like, that's worrying. That's not great.
Sam like finishes the page, flips it closed, sets it down. That sucked. That really, like walking over to the couch and sits down. That really sucked. Like I understood you said it was gonna suck, but that really sucked.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I feel like if you're already feeling shitty, it kind of balances out.
That's not how that should work. You should sit on the couch more, Jaeger.
Sometimes you gotta sometimes you just gotta sit and live with it.
Okay.
It's kind of a thing I do sometimes. It's like you live with the despair, and it kind of just.
Do you want to? I think we need to get out of the tower.
Let's go.
Okay.
As you're like, I bet you guys both get up and you just look over at the wardrobe again, like, son of a bitch.
Sam times it so that they couldn't step through the mirror at the same time, and like bumps shoulders with Jaeger to make it seem like an accident, but it's not. Like that playful, like, got you, buddy, and then steps in behind Jaeger.
Okay. As all of you step through the mirror, you're once again shoulder to shoulder as if you had all gone through at the exact same time. And you're in the dark, and there is this dusty, like almost wet, mildewy smell around, and it just is like stale air. And like you can see vague shapes because there are like windows, and there's like a glass door behind you as you look around, and you realize that it's like a glass double door that seems to lead out to like some sort of like cement walkway or like ramp of some kind. And you can see out there, it's like light, but in here no lights are on, so you can only see through the ambient lighting sort of spilling in through any windows or glass doors. And outside there is this like low hanging gray-green fog, almost like the color of moss, but even less saturated.
Barrett's gonna just hold up his hand and snap and listen for how intense the echo is.
It's like really echoey in here.
Yeah, okay.
You hear it echo way more to your left than you do down in front of you.
Interesting.
Do you want me to light up the place?
Please.
All right. And Sam casts dancing lights, making 3 small lights that kind of like circle around the group and then slowly expand out.
All right. As you make lights that sort of slowly reveal the area, you see that you are standing on this like mustard yellow carpet, and it's got these like weird like sort of splashes of like pink and blue color in like these sort of haphazard designs that go all along the length of it. And over to your left, you see that there are these like smooth wood lanes with gutters on either side of them. And you see that there are these racks that have these like sort of large balls with 3 holes in them. And it kind of comes to your mind with regional information that this is a bowling alley. It's like a bowling alley. There's no one here. It's closed. There's cobwebs everywhere. It looks like this place has been closed down or condemned for like a long time. And there's that gas outside. But the problem is, as you try to think of like what has recently been happening in the like regional area in the last 2 years, it's nothing.
Not a lot of writable
Like
history.
there's no like history that you could know in the last 2 years. You're almost sure even that there might have been a history. Like, it's like this lingering feeling in the back as if there's information about this world, but nothing has happened for the last 2 years. To the point where, like, there's nothing. And it definitely looks like this place has been closed for 2 years, if not longer.
Well, we still have the ambient light around us, and we can kind of see. Bear's gonna cross his fingers and open his pocket watch.
5 o'clock. You think, based on your, like, experience... And you like watch, you do that thing where you like watch it for a little bit to see how fast the hands are moving. And you're like, hours. It's 5 hours.
Looks like we got 5 hours here.
This place is interesting. I mean, I'm kind of concerned the last couple places we've been going to have been incredibly dead, but...
This looks pretty dead. Bear's gonna turn around and go toward the glass doors. And just kind of with his sleeve just...
You wipe the dust off of the inside of the glass doors and you see outside, and it looks like there's like a really overgrown grass lawn on the other side.
The asphalt's just grown over and just...
Right, and you look on the outside and there's a chain across the handles of the door. It's locked from the outside.
It's chained up from the outside. Looks like a overgrown parking lot.
Huh. I'm drawing a blank on, like, information about the place.
Yeah, me too.
Y'all got any predictions, or,
Oh, I don't know. Let's get a better look around here. As he's gonna wipe away whatever, like, the remaining dust, not just like a little porthole. He's gonna get the rest of the window, so it's at least a little brighter in here.
You see, like, faded white paint letters on the outside. The logo of the place, basically.
Oh, what does it say?
It says Good Time Lanes.
Good Time Lanes. Well,
I'm getting like... Remember that place we went to with the angry ghosts?
yeah?
Getting a weird vibe of like a building there.
You guys see that, like, Sam's lights are lighting up the place. To your right, there's like 2 doors, and they have little signs next to them that says it's like a little picture of a guy and a little picture of like a person with a triangle for a body, and you're like, oh, they're restrooms. And a little bit further up, there's this like little like bar stand that juts out into the walkway just slightly, so that it seems like anybody who's bowling could go up and get a drink and go back to bowling. But it, like, from your position, you can see that it looks like it also connects to an actual bar that's like in that little area. Then you guys hear this whirring sound somewhere. It sounds like really distant, but it's echoing through the place. And then you hear a little pink sound at the end as like a fucking old ass light bulb turns on its own. And then it, like, everything starts turning on. The whole place, you hear the like roar of sound as all of the lanes start to like wake up and like reset themselves. Just like as if somebody had turned the power on and everything is just doing what it's supposed to do. And like you see all of the screens at first are just like static, and then they come to life, flashing to like blank blue background with white imagery of like waiting for people to input their names on the bowling lanes. And it roars to life on its own.
Sam immediately goes to ground of like, not again.
hello?
There's not as much echo anymore because everything is so loud.
Yeah.
But there is like, you can kind of hear the echo down, like especially from where the lanes are. And you're kind of just like, as soon as the light kicked on, you felt like something woke up.
Any scary monsters, bowling enthusiasts? Hello? As I'm like marching my way back to where that first light bulb turned on.
The carpet is both slightly damp and dusty.
Yeah, making my way toward the back where the power first originated and going to go see if I can kind of pinpoint where like the breaker box might be.
You realize that like you're in like the main strip of the lobby. Like this building is longer than it is wide. Well, it might be longer than it is wide. You're not sure if it's a square because the like area where people are allowed to be, like the carpeted area that goes up and down from the like the doors behind you all the way to similar doors on the far end of the lanes that looks very small and far away from here, and just all of the lanes to your left-hand side, and then in the middle of the place, when you get to about the middle, there's a really large lobby with several benches and things like that, where it looks like there's a counter right in the middle where the lanes are operated from. Everybody rents their shoes there, and the main entrance is right there on your right. There's like a whole wall of glass doors, and you see that there's plywood on the outside. It's all boarded up in here. This place has been closed for a long time. And it's like when you step just in front of the desk, the light above the desk glows a little brighter. But as far as where the breaker box goes, you don't know. Maybe it might be in like from what you know of bowling alleys in your experience, there's like a place behind the lanes where like all of the
machines are for the pins.
You think that maybe power breakers and boxes might be back there.
Barrett's gonna, if there's a bell.
Ding! It echoes, rings hollow here.
Worth a shot.
Do you guys follow Barrett? Because right now, Barrett just marched up alone up to, like, I would say, like, it's probably 80 to 100 feet from this end of the building where you are to the middle of it.
Same would.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
Not gonna lie, Jaeger would be using the bar as a sniper perch. So he'd be set up behind the bar. He would look over it first to make sure that there's nothing behind there.
So the answer is Sam and Trinket follow Barrett. Jaeger, you go behind the bar. As you ring the bell, Sam and Trinket are right behind you, and you kind of look at them like worth a shot, right? Jaeger, as you go to the right, there's a small room, there's a small door that leads to the bar. And you think that in order to get into that little bar alcove, you just have to go in through the bar side, and then it's one connected strip. That little alcove that goes out is just part of the main bar well. As you go back there, you see a door that seems to lead to like maybe a kitchen or something. That's one of those like industrial kitchen doors, swinging like someone just went through there.
Jaeger's walking with his gun on his back still like he normally would. It's in his hands before anyone could blink, and keeps his eye on that door as he backs away and back out of the room toward the others. And he's going to look around and say, guys, we're not alone, we're not alone, we're not alone.
Hey, it's me, Ellie again. You have to ask yourself, is it spooky bowling alley time? I think it is. We hope everyone's year is starting off well. And we have some good news. We managed to recover Shattered Mirror Sam. I'm actually going to be editing it today, and we'll be recording a special post show later on to go along with it. We also are finally able to start knocking out Polaroids again, so there's a lot of content coming to the Patreon very soon. And thank you to everyone who is on our Patreon for making it happen. I seriously would not be able to do it without you. If you would like to work with us or collaborate with us in some way, contact us on the Contact Us section of our website, ClockTowerAgent.com. Barrett was played by Bink, Sam was played by Cal, Trinket was played by Kball, Jaeger was played by Trent, and I, Ellinthris, was your DM. The voice of our disclaimer is Valak Donahue. You can check out his work at patreon.com/themadlanddreamer. All music from Season 1 of Clock Tower made by Who's Music. If you would like your own D&D songs commissioned, you can contact them and find all of their work through their website, whosisthis.com, or find it in the description below. Thanks, Who's. Additional music and effects provided by Andrew Smith and Cal. Thank you to our editing team and Cal for making the episodes what they are. Thank you to our sponsor, Alpha Lupine Images, for donating the equipment to help us make more content with better quality. And thank you again for listening. ClockTower Season 2, Episode 26, will be out for all of our early episode patrons on February 2nd, and will release publicly on February 9th. Till then, time's ticking. See you in the Clock Tower.